And that was one of the best Stephen King adaptations of all time. Gerald's Game is a psychological horror film based on the Stephen King novel of the same name. The movie is directed by Mike Flanagan and stars Carla Gugino, Bruce Greenwood, Carel Struycken, Henry Thomas, and Chiara Aurelia. You can stream Gerald's Game now on Netflix. When a harmless sex game between a married couple in a remote retreat suddenly becomes a harrowing fight for survival, wife Jessie must confront long-buried demons within her own mind, and possibly lurking in the shadows of her seemingly empty house. Among those she confronts are ghosts from her past and a rabid dog. I'm a huge fan of Gerald's Game. It came out in 1992. It's not one of Stephen King's better-known books, but it's probably in my top 10. I love the book, and I've been waiting for this movie for 3 years since it was announced. I didn't really know Mike Flanagan. I think he did a film called Hush. He did Ouija Origin of Evil. I've heard those are both pretty good. The only movie of his that I've seen was Oculus with Karen Gillan, which I checked out when I found out he was directing this, and it was pretty good. But because I'd been waiting for this movie for such a long time, I went in with really high expectations, and this movie blew them out of the water. Just a little bit more on the plot. I'm not going to tell you anything that you're not going to see in the trailer, and really everything I'm about to say happens in like the first 10 pages of the book. But Gerald and Jessie are a middle-aged couple whose, sex life has been getting kind of dry, so they've been trying to spice it up. Decide to go to their cabin by the lake, and he pulls out a pair of handcuffs and cuffs her to the bed, and they start getting it going, and then she decides she's not having any of it, tells him to stop, but then he acts like he thinks she's playing victim for the sake of the fantasy, and he means to go forward with it. And it's slightly different in the movie than in the book, but basically there's a bit of an argument, and he drops dead of a fatal heart attack. And now his body's at the foot of the bed, and she's cuffed to the bed, and that's your jumping off point. Almost the entirety of the novel is Jessie cuffed to the bed and kind of fighting with these inner demons, these voices in her head that are warring with each other. Mainly it's the voice of her mother and the voice of her college roommate. And I'd always wondered, as much as I wanted to see a movie based on this book, how are you going to do that? It's just a woman in a bed hearing voices. I'm happy to say that Mike Flanagan cracked that nut. In Mike Flanagan's version, he has Jessie visualizing these voices as people in the room with her, which adds a dynamic so it's not just a woman on a bed. And the people that she visualizes are herself and Gerald. And there are some really great shots of Gerald sitting next to her on the bed talking to her, but you can clearly see in the shot Gerald's actual dead body on the floor. The vision she has of Gerald kind of represents her lack of faith in herself, her fear. He has her questioning her character and the life she's led, and it's almost as if he's sort of seducing her into giving up. But the vision of herself that she sees represents her will to live, guiding her through this ordeal and forcing her to confront past traumas to help her survive. And it's a brilliant way to really keep the film moving, having these different characters in the room. It worked marvelously. My hat is off to Mike Flanagan. Not literally, obviously. Now, because most of the film is dialogue, the acting really had to be good to make this film work, and yeah. I love Bruce Greenwood. He's a fellow Canadian, and he's excellent in this film. He is at times smarmy, tender, cruel, scary, and he sells all of it. Chiara Aurelia plays young Jessie, and I think the actress is about 15 years old. And she does an absolutely marvelous job of taking this really, really heavy subject matter, emoting through it, and really holding her game against Bruce Greenwood and Carla Gugino. Carel Struycken, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I didn't know that I knew the actor. He's in this. I looked him up. He was Lurch in the Addams Family movies. I love those movies. He's in this movie, and he's really good, but the less said about the character, the better, because yeah. But finally, this is Carla Gugino's movie. She absolutely crushes it. She flows from utter despair to like no bull power seamlessly. Her performance elevates what would have already been a darn good movie to something like first rate. This film is also really, really faithful to the source material. There's a part in the book, and I won't tell you what, but the book has a connection to another of Stephen King's works, and that book has a connection to this one. And it's pretty cool. And while we don't actually see that transpire in the film, there is reference made to it. Also, there's a Cujo joke. A Coo joke. The film is really, really claustrophobic. Almost all of it takes place inside this one bedroom. And the nighttime scenes are really freaky because Jessie has no way to gauge time. So she doesn't know, has it been 20 minutes lying here in the dark or 3 hours? She doesn't know when the sun's gonna come up. And it's uncomfortable. And it gets pretty scary too. But I won't talk any more about that. The screenplay by Mike Flanagan and Jeff Howard is also really, really brilliant. Like, not only is the dialogue very, very good, but the way it plays the visions of Jessie and Gerald against each other is quite clever, and they use the dog and the handcuffs as metaphors for Jessie's life and her relationship with Gerald. It is really well written. Like I said, this movie is quite scary, but I don't think there was a single jump scare. Mike Flanagan really put on a masterclass on how to build tension and atmosphere, and this one just grabs you. I couldn't look away from the screen. It was hard to get a breath. Even though it's a person in a bed, it's so intense all the way through. The flick really gets its hooks into you and doesn't let go until it's over. Now, I said it off the top, this is one of the best Stephen King adaptations ever, in my opinion. There's still a lot of movies that are yet to come out this year, but I would be shocked if this doesn't crack my top 5, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being my favorite film of the year. I absolutely loved this film, and I can't wait to watch it again. Now, I don't have a proprietary rating system as of yet, so I'm just trying to figure out what I'm going to give Gerald's Game, and I think I'm going to give Gerald's Game a out of 10. But now I want to know, have you seen Gerald's Game yet? Do you plan to see it? If you have seen it, what did you think of it? Have you read the book? What did you think of that? What's your favorite Stephen King book, or what do you think is the best Stephen King adaptation that's ever been done? Whatever your thoughts, hit the comments below and let's discuss. If you enjoyed this review, please smash that like button and give it a share if you really enjoyed it. And hey, why not subscribe to my channel for more movie reviews, entertainment news, trailer reactions, all that good stuff. If you'd like to subscribe, you can do so by clicking the Courtshake logo at the bottom right of your screen. Check back tomorrow for my review of Flatliners. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.